Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Up to the Minute. It's Monday, June the 7th. I know it's a Monday. It's a bit overcast outside, but hey, it's not raining. It seemed like it rained for the last month. Well, today, no rain, little heat, little overcast, but we'll live with that. Raquel Sims is my co-host this morning. Raquel, the whole weekend wasn't a washout like every weather person in town said it was going to be, but it actually turned out to be not a bad weekend.
Yes, I'm super excited that it was not a washout because I'm just tired of the rain, honestly. It's making my allergies mess up, making me be sick and everything. So I'm just thankful that we didn't have a washout this weekend. I'm happy to be here with you, Todd. And for those who are looking to follow the stream, please make sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms to check out this Up to the Minute podcast so that you can share with anyone, and then also keep up to date with all of our latest features as well.
All right, Raquel, stick around. We'll check up with you in a little while, hear about all the things going on in Fort Bend County and Stafford as well. We've got two special guests today. It's a Monday, and it's Mental Health Awareness Monday here on the show. Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick from the Jung Center of Houston joins us once a month with some self-awareness tips. Good to see you, Sean.
Hey, it's good to be here.
We want to talk self-care, self-awareness. We're going to check in with you in a little while. Grab a cup of coffee and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, kicking off the show today, Elizabeth Guerrero-Lopez. She is a teacher supervisor for HCC's Adult Education and Literacy Program, and she joins us live this morning. Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, if you can get you to unmute your microphone, hit the button on the bottom left.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Let's start with talking about the new high school equivalency, also known as GED. You have a form of that program in Spanish now. Tell us about that.
It is a course that had been asked for a lot, and we finally got it. We actually piloted right now. We're currently piloting it in. It's working very well. It's a high interest. And it's like it says, it's in Spanish. And we hope that we do get a lot of students. We do have a high demand on it. Like I mentioned, it was inquired and we made it happen. So we're very happy.
And for this program, you said it is a very popular program. Is it hard to get enrolled into it? Meaning, are there a lot of spaces available? Do they fill up fast with the classes? What do you suggest for people who are looking to take that course?
It is not difficult. It's just like any other thing that goes on. You have to apply. There are no qualifications. However, you do need to be at least 17 and 18 years of age. You must have a picture ID, and you complete an application online. And this is something that pandemic made us, help us do. So everything's online. We also have a Zoom link, which everyone interested can join. And because it's in Spanish, I might want to say something in Spanish. So le doy la bienvenida a todos los interesados para que puedan participar de este programa que estamos ofreciendo en español. Muy fácil para registrarse, solamente venir al link de Zoom.
Let me ask you this. For people who may have started their education across the border, maybe in Mexico, and they don't have all their documents for their school, do you still work with them? How does that work? Because I imagine having all the papers you need to show that you've had certain classes may be difficult to find those.
Well, in reality, we do not require much paperwork. We only would like to see a identification. It could be their birth certificate. It could be their country's driver's license. It could be anything from their country. Just we need to identify that person.
Okay, so proving your identity is the main thing, but then you can work on them with everything else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
You also have ESL for professionals. What can you tell us about that?
We do, and this is a very neat course. This is basically for those that come from another country and they would like to continue either their studies in this country or just better the English. Some might have some knowledge of the language already, others might not, but what we do is we better and perfect it. So this class is for those that come from foreign countries and have a degree in their countries. So that's what this course is for.
One of the best things about HCC is we offer many ways for our students to pay for their tuition and their courses, whether it be through loans or financial aid, or even for grants and scholarships. Is all that available for the adult education and literacy student?
And I'm glad you asked. Our saying is change your life for $20. So there you go. For just $20, that's all we charge. The $20 non-refundable fee, and it's a registration fee. Actually, the course itself is free. But if they would like to take other courses, then we do have scholarships, and based on our grants, that's how we pay for those classes. So it's a $20 registration non-refundable fee.
When you're working with students in the adult education and literacy programs, are you also able to offer them job placement assistance or helping them find a job once they complete your program?
Well, we do. We are working hand in hand with the Workforce Commission. Therefore, we have all the tools available and necessary to assist any participant or individual interested in continuing either their employment, better their employment, or continue education. So like I said, it's hand to hand.
What is the best way for people to get a hold of you if they're interested in signing up for courses or if they want to learn more about them?
So we do have our HCC page. It's Adult Education and Literacy Program. Under programs, you will find us. We're the very first one listed. We also we will be providing the Zoom link here. And we are live. We are live Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5 on Friday. 9 to 5. And then Friday, 9 to 5. That's 9 to 6:30. I'm sorry, Monday through Thursday, Fridays 9 to 5. So we are available all day long, and we are live, and we're there to assist you in Spanish as well.
We've helped you guys in the past promote the $20 Change Your Life program, and I know it's had tremendous success, and there have been waiting periods where you've had a number of students sign up. What's the forecast right now? If somebody wants to get enrolled in this program, can they actually start soon, or do you have to get on a waiting list? What's your best advice there?
Definitely. We have programs starting all year long. So actually next month in July, we will be starting our next semester, and it's 1 month long, which is our intensive program. And this is the perfect timing for you to come in, register, get your orientation, get everything submitted, and then immediately we get you started pretty fast.
Okay. So the $20 Change Your Life program, if you want to check that out, the website address is very easy. It's hccs.edu/changemylife. Very easy. And we'll have all the links in the social media post for the show. Elizabeth Guerrero-Lopez, thanks for being here on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Por favor, no esperen más y vengan y participen y aprovechen nuestro programa. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks for being here. And we look forward to having all the students interested join. You can check out their social media post in the post of this show. Check out their links, and then you can sign up for the program. All right, Elizabeth, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me again. Gracias.
Okay, we're going to move on to Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick. He is from the Jung Center of Houston. Sean, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see y'all on this. I actually do have a bit of sun out my window this morning, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, a little sun's poking out right now. I can see it outside. The topic today is self-care, but you're saying a lot of people you get a little frustrated with this idea of that phrase. Maybe you can tell us why.
Yeah, excuse me. You need to know a little bit about the history of it. Self-care is this idea that has been circulating for about 40 years, but it's really intensified in the last, I would say, 5 years that we're hearing a lot about self-care in the collective. You need to know a little bit about where it comes from. So it actually is, the origin point for it is an extraordinary poet and essayist and activist named Audre Lorde. She's an African-American woman and was active in the 60s, 70s, 80s. She died in the 90s. And she, among other things, was one of the origin points of our idea of intersectionality, which is that we can't simply talk about one dimension of our identity in isolation. So she said, I can't just talk about being a Black person as a reason why I might not have access to all kinds of privileges. I have to talk about being a Black woman, and not just a Black woman, about Black feminist, and not just a Black feminist, a Black lesbian, and so on and so on. She was diagnosed with cancer in the early 80s. And as she was really struggling with a decision about whether or not to seek treatment for cancer. And so because on the one hand, she thought I can choose to continue to live my values and do the work that I do, organizing Black women, working with Black women's groups throughout the Caribbean, the United States, and France, and go out on my own terms. Or I can step back and seek treatment and run the risk of not being able to live the active life and to see some of these movements suffer as a part of my stepping back. So as she was wrestling with this, she wrote in her journal, caring for oneself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. Yeah. And that is an act of political warfare.
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting that she was torn between continuing her mission of helping others and doing her work or seeking treatment. Because I would imagine you're talking the 80s and the 90s. Chemo was a lot different then than it is now. And it probably would have taken her down for quite some time, maybe even shortened her life even more because of the chemo if it wasn't successful.
That is true. And there's another level of her identity that's important to say, which is that she was uninsured. And so then there was also a financial risk on top of this. What she was saying at this moment where she frames this idea of caring for oneself as being something that has political consequences, is that she was acknowledging that people who are not in the majority, people who are not at the most privileged places, I am a straight, white, middle-class guy sitting here talking to you, I'm in the most privileged of places in this society, that people who are on the margins are not seen as fully human. And just saying I am worthy of care and I'm going to take care of myself and my own needs was an act of defiance, an act against those forces that were seeing them as less than human. Wow. So self-care becomes this thing that it comes out of a lack, and it is embedded in a system of systematic racism, systematic injustice against those who are different and other. And one of the consequences of that is that now when we are told that what we need is more self-care, which is what happens, I think, all the time, it sounds like, it's just another version of, you just need to lift yourself up by your own bootstraps. Yeah. And that's a real problem.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of that. I don't know if you're familiar with Bob Newhart, but back when he was doing comedy, he did a comedy sketch on someone who was a therapist talking to drug addicts and alcoholics. And his deal was the guy would come to him and say, "Doctor, I can't stop drinking and doing drugs and doing this, that, and that." And he'd just go, "Stop it. What's your advice?" "My advice is stop." And but you look at the bigger picture, that's what some people actually think. Just stop. You're depressed. Get out of it.
Right.
Get over it. And that's not the way it works. It's a great comedy routine. Newhart was a genius, but it's not the way it works.
It isn't the way it works. Big props to you for calling that one out. That was a Mad TV sketch, I think. And he used to be on. He had his own show, right, where he was a psychologist in the 70s. It was a big part of my childhood. That's exactly right. That's not the way it works. And I think that it's a failure of empathy on behalf of people who do have lots of privilege that they don't recognize, right? Whether it's the education, the way they were sort of brought up, the very material resources that people have, again, having insurance versus not having insurance. And it doesn't, I see it happen in the work that I've done with community-based organizations during the pandemic, where it's a solution for nonprofit leaders who are dealing with burnout among their staffs to say, well, you just need to take more responsibility for your mental health. And when in fact the system is putting employees in a position where they're experiencing adverse conditions for sustaining their mental health, they're under tremendous stress. to take care of populations that are really suffering. And
Right.
what they actually need is more community support. What they need is more support from their organizations, and they need support from each other, and normalizing talking about our mental health struggles and our physical health struggles, right? And looking for ways that others cannot save us, but can support us, and we can support them in our group struggle, and not so much seeing ourselves in isolation.
Well, I guess the main thing, the takeaway would be, it's kind of like the old adage when they say when you're on an airplane and they give you this safety speech and they say, if you have a small child with you, make sure you put the air mask on yourself first, then the small child. You got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others.
And that is why the language of self-care has been so important. And that is a metaphor I've used just hundreds of times. You have to make sure that you are okay. If you are, and this is why I think self-care is important for people who are actively engaged in helping others, whether that is in their homes or in the workplaces or as a part of their job, part of their identity in the world, that we have to be constantly reminded that our needs, our basic fundamental human needs, are just as important as those that we're helping. I think the problem is when there are failures in the systems to take care of us, that suddenly becomes our responsibility to meet all of those needs where the system is falling apart. Yeah.
You think we're ever going to reach a point? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are moving on into caseworkers and working with the community, but these jobs, as you mentioned, are so stressful. Are we going to get to the point where we don't have enough people working in those industries to take care of others?
We're already there. That's already the case. There are shortfalls in social work and definitely in case management. It's a continuing problem. And my personal feeling about it is that one important dimension of it is this failure to see the people doing the jobs as working in difficult circumstances. And it's just like nurses and doctors who go into work with patients with infectious disease. We expect that they're going to get the personal protective equipment, right, that they need to be able to go in there. Obviously, during the last year, there have been a lot of failures in taking care of the mental and physical needs of those professionals as well. Yeah. But for those who are engaged in dealing with trauma on an ongoing basis, not giving them sufficient support, not normalizing talking about our mental health issues, the impact on our lives, and also getting people access to more robust support, to clinical services, or just groups where we can talk about it, right? And creating space for that, having mental health days and so on. So yeah, we're already there.
Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick joins us once a month talking about mental health awareness, and self-care is the topic today. Sean, how are things going on at the Jung Center? You guys fully reopened now?
We are. So this summer, we are still doing most of our programming online, with a couple of exceptions. Our gallery is open, and we have we just started a new exhibit of art by members and students of the Jung Center. Thrilled to see the walls covered in that wonderful work. Again, a lot of it created during the pandemic, which is neat to see. We have a couple of things I would mention today. Starting tonight, we have a class on an African-centric worldview from a psychological perspective with a specific focus on dreams. It's being led by a dear friend of mine, psychologist Curtis Williams, who's beaming into us from Akron, Ohio to teach the class. And later this week, we have a class on retirement and spiritual growth led by Michael Winters, a local psychologist who's just wonderful. And so many other things that, as I say, today is really the beginning of our summer semester. So we have a lot of cool things happening this summer.
Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, Executive Director of the Jung Center, thanks for being here on the show today.
Always my pleasure. Y'all take care and hope to see you soon.
All right. We'll see you again, Sean. Thank you. Okay, we are going to, by the way, folks, if you want to know more about the Jung Center of Houston, we'll have the link to their organization in the social media post for the show. They're down off Montrose, by the way. If you just keep going south on Montrose, before you get to the Contemporary Arts Museum and the Museum of Fine Arts Houston area, they're located right in that area. So stop on by, see them, say hi to Sean for us. Okay, Raquel Sims is here on Mondays for her segment to highlight what's going on in Stafford, Raquel.
I am here. Thank you so much for having me each and every week. It's so crazy because it seems like things are starting to pick back up in Stafford, with the city kind of reopening, well, honestly, being fully open, and people are getting back in the swing of things. But I do find it ironic that the pandemic has forced, school districts to do a lot of things they used to do in person, more creatively online. So new at Stafford MSD, they have announced a cooking class, but they're doing the cooking class online. So just imagine cooking with a twist, but online. So I think that's pretty cool to get the kids active at home and getting them still going with the home economics class and stuff. Did you ever take a home economics class in high school?
Yeah, I'm going to give a hard no to that. I don't think I did. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry, because I
had a few
don't think I
friends who
did.
and they said it was fun, but my home economics class was at home with my mom telling me what to do. So that was my home economics class.
I agree with you because I didn't have the privilege of cooking in class either. So no worries, you're not alone on that one. So they're doing that at Stafford. And then moving on to an HEC perspective, I was able to speak with the CEO of the Houston Crime Stoppers, and she shared online tips of how students can stay safe online. With the pandemic happening, it caused us to all be virtually online, and that opened up a lot of doors to susceptibility of, anything could happen, you just never know what could happen. Right. So they shared tips with students so that they can feel comfortable with operating online and what to look out for as well. So I had an amazing conversation with Raina. She's awesome. I love her. And then I had a chance to speak with Miss Laura Richard, the Fort Bend County District Clerk, and she shared how there were multiple bright spots during the pandemic. With Harris County's District County Clerk's office being closed, a lot of Houston residents migrated to the Fort Bend County District Clerk's office to obtain marriage license, birth certificates, and any other legal documents that they weren't able to obtain in Houston. And she was just blown away about how many individuals got married during the pandemic. They didn't allow the pandemic to stop them. And she said that she did see a spike in births. So, hey.
People were busy during the pandemic.
Yeah, they definitely
getting married and having babies. There you go.
They had nothing but time.
All the time in the world. And that goes by really fast during the pandemic, huh?
It really does. And last point, if you are not doing so already, please don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias so that way you can stay up to date with our latest features and tune into our weekly show. So thank y'all so much. And thank you, Todd, for having me to share the Stafford news. Well,
all right. Thanks, Raquel. Okay, tomorrow we are Juneteenth, the hashtag for the 149th Juneteenth celebration of the Emancipation Park Conservancy. They are happening tomorrow at the park in Houston's 3rd Ward. I know we'll be out there at HCCTV. A lot of folks from HCC will be there. 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday, June the 8th. That's tomorrow. All right. Experience the history, heritage, architecture, and recreational facilities of Emancipation Park by volunteering for its beautification efforts. As HCC begins our own 50th anniversary celebration, our participation in this project demonstrates HCC's commitment to being a community partner in the legacy of this local landmark. We'll have links to the post with contact information. Try to get out there and join us tomorrow. Okay, virtual coffee breaks. They're continuing tomorrow as well, Raquel.
Yes, grab a cup of coffee with coworkers and Janet May, the Chief Human Resource Officer, to continue chatting and adapting to our current reality. Like, that's extremely important. So make sure you grab your cup of coffee. It's happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. Dr. Aaron Ray, the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, will be joining you all. And please check your emails to register. It's just coffee breaks. Come on. You can't miss this.
Yeah, no, it's tomorrow as well. So make sure you join them. Okay, HCC Summer Community Learning Programs kicks off this month with a variety of workshops for all interests. Online anytime, June 8th through August 6th, the leadership and problem solving skills. And then 10 to 11:30, Monday, June 14th. You ready for this? Gardening small spaces, plumeria. If you're looking for a band name, I think Plumeria should be on your list if you got a new band. Plumeria.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 10 to 11:30 a.m. That's Monday, June 14th. On Wednesday, June 16th, from 10 to 11:30 a.m., something we all need to be aware of: Medicare fraud, error, and abuse. That'll be the topic for discussion. For info, we'll have an email address in the social media post for the show and the website as well for all the summer workshops and everything they have going on there. Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Get to know the facts.
Yes, HCC Small Biz Development is offering a webinar on how required annual government reports. I think that's a very extremely important key, especially for any small business owners. So make sure you check that out. The training will detail eligible use of funds, the two-pronged documentation process, along with disaster versus growth capital, and so much more. So if you are a business owner, this is a wonderful opportunity. And I advise you to take advantage of this. This is happening at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Tuesday, June 15th. Again, 10 a.m. to 11:30, on Tuesday, June 15th. And for information or registration, please contact hcc.sbdp@hccs.edu, and the link will be provided below. Don't miss it.
Yep. Check the social media post. And also we'll have a long link for this next thing I'm going to talk about. Tuesday, June 15th. Remember that date, because that is the deadline to register with the HCC Foundation for a scholarship. The HCC Foundation has funding to pay for your tuition. In some cases, all of your tuition, fees, books, they could be paid for. You have to apply, though, in order to get a scholarship. They don't just hand them out. You got to apply, get your name in the system. All right, for more information, visit the link we'll leave in the social media post for the show. One thing we want to mention, Raquel, is we've got registration ongoing right now. We're doing registration for the summer and also for the fall semesters. We've got many ways for you to learn here at HCC, from completely online, some hybrid courses where you do some online and in person. And kids, this summer, in fact, today is the first day of classes, we have a return to in-person classes at HCC. You want to take a class on campus? We've got them for you, starting this summer and certainly continuing into the fall. Register now, register early. A lot of the classes are going to be smaller than the last time you were at HCC. The website address is hccs.edu/now. Okay, Raquel, did you do anything big over the weekend?
I honestly didn't. I was just resting. My dad's birthday was Friday, so we just had family over. And honestly, I think I kind of sugarcoated that. I watched the fight yesterday, and then I went to a comedy show on Saturday night.
So you did a lot. You just didn't remember it or don't want to mention it. Something like that.
It kind of like slipped out of my head. Maybe that's why my voice is gone.
Yeah, well, I can't even remember where we went to dinner on Friday, but that's just me in old age. But hey, went to go see the new Conjuring movie yesterday. The Devil Made Me Do It. And one thing I got to say about the Conjuring movies is they take a sliver of bit of truth and then just create a whole movie around it. So they can say based on a true story. So one thing about this movie, at the end of the movie, though, all the characters that are in the movie, they show you their real pictures. So you can see how much they didn't look like the actors. But yeah, but anyway, a lot of the movie was based on evidence. About 95% of it wasn't. But hey, it was a decent movie. If you like the Conjuring movies, you probably would like this one.
Yes, I definitely agree with what you said. It's so funny. I think I mentioned before we started the show that my friend, she just posted on Instagram. She was a part of the production cast for The Conjuring. And she said this was her first horror film that she worked on. And she said it was just a completely shift of, she's worked with Jumanji and just the Avengers. And she said that it was a completely different experience. So it was just cool to have her have that experience. It was crazy.
It's cool. It's an okay movie. One thing I did know, this is the 7th Conjuring movie. They've made 7 of them out there. There were a couple
I didn't even know that.
There was the 2 Annabelle movies about that haunted doll, and The Nun. Do you remember The Nun?
I do remember the name. I didn't know that they were all under The Conjuring.
They were all under the Conjuring umbrella. It's a franchise that just won't die.
Literally.
Literally, like its characters. So anyway, check it out if you get a chance. Okay, tomorrow on the show, we've got Dr. Rima Deal, Dean of Student Services at HCC Northwest, be here to discuss the return of on-campus registration fairs, folks, as well as the continuation of all the virtual services our students have come to enjoy. You can go to campus, meet with people in person now. So that's happening. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And it's Culinary Tuesday as well.
Yes, so we will have a treat in store for you for a local chef. Later this week, we will have a special guest discussing gaming, film, and of course, our family fun guest when we talk about the recent reopening of the Children's Museum. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. And Raquel, we'll see you next week. We'll see all of you tomorrow live, 10 a.m. on Up to the Minute.